Hello and welcome to I Want to Grow, and I Want to Grow is all about that, right? It's all about our growth. But with our guests, it's a little bit different. With our guests, it's all about how they help others grow. And we had a wonderful guest on the program going back a couple of weeks now with Zihad from Techno. Now we've got his double act, Mr. Abdullah. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for hosting me.
Ah, dear
Lovely
me.
to see you.
You've got a wonderful story. You've got the Techno story, and we're going to get into that. But your story is incredible, and it just keeps on growing. Is that been all planned, or is it evolved over a period of time?
No, it evolved definitely. It wasn't planned to be as exciting as it is becoming now.
With your journey, your personal journey, how did this all become? I know, talking to Zihad, he said it was in the university. You started you were best of friends. Was that looking back on that now, was that the best way of doing things in starting up a business?
I guess yes, because we had the same way of looking at things. We had the same culture, the same language, of course, even family ties. So this helps a lot because we there is a high respect for each other and for each other's opinions. So we go about discussing things from an objective point of view, a constructive point of view, and when you have the same beliefs and the same passion, things will be much easier to go about.
I've heard your story, a little bit of your story from his side. Now we're getting it from your side, and I look back to those times. When did the entrepreneurial spirit come into you? When did you say, that's what I want to do?
Actually, it's an interesting question because while I was studying in the States, I never had any thoughts of doing, let's say, business. But two incidents happened to me while I was in the States, and these two incidents are maybe the drive, let's say. One was in '92, when Kuwait was liberated after the Gulf War. Of course, Kuwaitis wanted to import everything because the country was practically destroyed. So through a friend who was studying with us from Kuwait, three guys came to the States looking for cars to buy and ship back to Kuwait. And they asked me for help. I helped them, and then of course they had to transfer money, so they used my bank account. And when I saw that experience or transactions that they were doing, that opened my eye. Why don't I also participate and maybe buy some cars? Because we were able to get really cars at an incredibly low price. I don't know how it happened, but it was really a coincidence that we bargained and we argued so we were able to get huge discounts. That was amazing. So I bought a few cars and I shipped back to Qatar, and I asked my friends to sell them. And I made some money. That was in my third year of college, or second or third year. But the real impact was from a friend that was from Bahrain. He was studying, and then he continued to do his master's. And after I finished my degree, I stayed in the States for 3 months, 4 months. So one day he asked me for a ride to another city, and this was around a 3-hour drive. And while we were talking in the car, he told me, why don't you think about doing business? Why don't you think about doing something? Don't settle for a degree and a job. Look for things, find something that might be interesting back home, sell it over there. This was really the first, let's say, window, if you will, to the business, side of things. So I immediately called my friends here and asked them, is there anything that we can import or bring and so on. And one of my relatives asked me, yes, why don't you look for chocolates that are made for people who are diabetic? At that, and this was 30 years ago. No, it wasn't really.
That was some time ago.
It wasn't heard of, let's say.
Yeah.
And I did, and I went and I looked for in the yellow pages over there. I found out who are the shops that's selling. I went to the shops. I bought few samples.
What was your age at this stage? What was your age?
21. So, and I called because in the States, all companies used to have 1-800 number. It's a free number.
Yeah.
At that time, there was no internet, of course. You couldn't communicate. So I had to call. So I bought the samples. I called the companies. And I told them, look, we'd like to sell your products in Qatar. Of course, at that time, they didn't know what Qatar is. It was unknown. So I wrote them faxes at that time, fax.
Remember
no
faxes?
emails.
Or
yeah, with the roll.
And also when you had somebody that wanted to get in contact with, I don't know if you ever had one of these, a pager. Where
pager later on, actually, not at that time.
Yeah.
So they shipped actually boxes, samples. I shipped them back to Doha. We didn't do anything, but didn't go about well. But anyway, this was a nice experience. Start, let's say, and this really that incident opened my eyes to thinking about business.
It seems like it's all revolving about bonds and relationships, bonds and friendships.
Yeah, of course, yeah, connections. I mean, I believe that connections do miracles. And this is what societies, humans are all about, to talk to each other, exchange ideas, advice, and so on.
But
this is what
easy.
I believe that, after many years of work and experience, about 7-8 years ago, I had an inside urge to share my experience, to help others, to, let's say, benefit the society from what I learned, what I experienced, so that I can, give away this experience that I have. I mean, if I kept it for me, it's useless and it's a pity. I believe that we should actually help each other, advise each other. Yeah.
It's funny you should say all of these things, because I did get some of the story with Zihad about how your friendship, and then all of a sudden you went into business. What was it like having a partner then having that partner, somebody that you could rely on in business, or that could, when I think about to his pitch, when you pitched Amir back then, I would never have done that in the first place. But you didn't just sit back, but you were the operational guy. You were the one that was doing all the operations. I felt from what his side was, but your side, what was it like at that stage, when you were going to the biggest people in the country and saying, we could do this for you, but you had to keep on inventing yourself?
Well, I mean, it felt exciting because, actually, when you are in front of a challenge, you try to bring the best out of you. This is really the motive that pushes you to come forward and perform better. Whenever you are in your relaxed mode or in the comfort zone, nothing really will come out. And that's why many organizations and companies and so on, they do competitions, they do races, to bring out the best out of the human brain, let's say. So it was really something that really exciting, because we had to do something top.
Yeah, and then you had to back it up.
Of course, yes. I mean, so there is no second chance, as you said. It's only one chance. You have to do it right, and you have to make sure that nothing will go wrong.
He talks about pitching. You had to learn how to pitch. You had to learn about all these different things.
We had to learn everything, really.
Everything. What was it like that when somebody was pitching and they were saying, yes, we can do this for you, we could do this for you, we can do that, you're in the background going, Oh my word. How am I going to fulfill?
We had to be creative, let's say. I mean,
Great word.
you have to be creative. You have to come up with a solution. There is no way that you can, step back. Once you say something or commit to something, you must fulfill. So you have to search. You have to do whatever it takes to achieve it.
It's kind of in the person that helped you the most to say, I wasn't interested, but if you could bring me these products, I am interested. What task was that in front of you then? Did you look at that as the biggest challenge to say, okay, the Prime Minister has asked us, if you come back with these things I'm looking for, I'll give you that chance. What did you do? What was your journey then?
Well, I mean, he gave us a hint, and he said that I have seen it in the States. So that was a big relief, because if he has seen it, means it exists, and the only thing you have to do is to go and look for it and bring it in. So he made it easier for us by saying that sentence. So we had to go and look, and we did find two products. We took it, as I said, seriously. We studied properly. We went to the vendors. We got trained. So we did all the precautions, if you will, to provide something that we can trust.
Yeah. Was that part of the journey, exploring these products yourself?
Of course, yes. Actually, look, in every project you do, you learn something, and that's why we always try to do projects that are different, that have different challenges, because the takeaway from every project is really what you get.
I want to take it back a little, because there was a question that I was going to ask you. When you were exploring with your friends from Kuwait and Bahrain, I want to know what your father and your mother were saying to you at that time, to look up and say, hey, stop, just keep your education. But what were their thoughts on it? Did they encourage you, or was it something that they said, please just make sure your studies are in place?
Well, my father, what happened actually, frankly speaking, when the Gulf War happened, my father was worried, and he transferred me $50,000 as a security, because nobody knew what was going to happen. Immediately, a war in the region. It was really something. So I used that money to buy and sell cars. Sorry. But he told me to be careful with whom I deal here, because some people would, you would send a car and then maybe they will not pay you. That was his only concern, actually.
Yeah.
My mother didn't. I don't think she was interfering in this at all.
Supporting more.
But they were. I mean, frankly speaking, they were worried that why would I go for a private business, not a governmental, which is more secured. And even my friends, my other family members. But we were always telling them, if I can support myself, and if I can relieve the government from my expenses, why not?
Yeah, why not?
I believe in myself, and I'm able to do it. So why not?
You talk about belief in yourself, and you must have had a lot of belief in yourself. Was there times in the early days with Techno that you had doubts yourself, whether it was going to be what you've built now?
No, because there is a saying in Islam: if you make yourself optimistic about something, it will happen. And this is something that relates to self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will. So always I'm the positive thinker, let's say, and I always believe that if I stress myself and do it properly and do everything I can to achieve what I'm looking for, study it properly, think about it properly, do it properly, I will have help from the Almighty, and it will happen. So I'm always, my gut feeling is always positive.
Gut feeling, yeah.
I don't have. I try to stay away from negativity and failure.
Yeah.
So I try to be positive, and I thank God always.
That's a great
find-
message for people
Yeah.
out there, because they're all trying to take those first steps in starting up or starting their empire, and it's not easy. So keeping it positive is a real
Yeah,
kind
but
of,
this doesn't mean that you should not do proper study and no, doesn't
I'm with
mean
you.
that at all.
Yeah.
But it means you have to look at the bright side of things, and there are lots of successful stories that started from nothing, or started from a coincidence, or started from a small idea.
Yeah. But it's market research is one of the most important things when you are starting.
Well, market research, no, because some of the great successful stories like DHL, the student who had this idea, his professor told him, no way this can be feasible, and then look at DHL today. So market study always it does not really always give you the truth, because you never know how people would react.
Yeah.
I mean, who would think that people would react the way they did with Facebook,
Yeah.
for instance? So
Yeah.
it's
No.
sometimes unpredictable.
No, it is unpredictable, but I think that knowing the marketplace that you're going into, I don't think you could have gone into this because you had the love of the electronics, that you had that capability. You had some understanding about it. Instead, sometimes nowadays people don't really know what they're getting into. They don't know that industry. So
Yeah, I mean, that, of course, personally speaking, and even in TechnoQ, we don't do something that we don't understand. This is really forbidden, because you are going to harm yourself. So if you want to go into any area, you must really study it very properly. You have to understand it. You have to learn everything about it, try to get the experience and meet people and so on, in order to do it properly. Otherwise, you are not doing your homework.
okay, I know that the way that Qatars feel about their country, and so they should. How have you seen Qatar develop over these years, from the time of starting in business to seeing how Qatar's developed? What's your feelings? What's your thoughts? And
It's really amazing, really amazing. It's unbelievable. What it was and what is it today, really unbelievable. Lots of course, it's because of the vision of the leadership and the will and the achievement of the Qatari people who were behind it.
We've got a business that does company formation, and the biggest thing that sometimes I think we all underestimate, and we do underestimate, we're all looking at what industry's best here, what things should we get involved in, but the thing that comes up most of all is the quality of life, is how good the quality of life is. The infrastructure, everything that's been, the medical, everything that they've been building towards, but the quality of life is there. It's for it, everybody should want to live here.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
And that, as I said, it's really the vision of the leadership. This was the main drive, and everybody followed, and here we are today. It's really a great country. Many of my friends who are non-Qataris, when they come for a visit, they love it. They envy us, actually.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
No, I've been here now for 15 years, and I wish I could put my finger on one specific thing, and there isn't. You can't put your one specific finger on. I think I do. I think that religion here, the community from a religious perspective, and the way that people pray 5 times a day, where they come together as a community and they celebrate those type of things, and I think that's got a major influence on how the way that Qatar's progressed, that's for sure. But it brings out that family aspect. It brings out everybody together, even expats. I see myself as part of Qatar, and that's the way that Qataris have embraced all of that, and so long I hope it continues for so much more, because it's a wonderful place and people should really experience it if they haven't been here, to experience it yourself. But from the business landscape, where do you see this is going now? Because we're still growing in that landscape. How do you see those things growing in Qatar right now?
Actually, I think the government is now focusing more on events and on being the spot for culture, for sports, for now recently entertainment. If we are going to talk about the biggest Disneyland,
5.5 billion.
It's taking a direction which I believe is really smart, because they want to be the focal point for culture, for sports, and for entertainment. Bearing in mind all these aspects, maintaining a peaceful, family-oriented audience. And this is really a key, because making it safe for families, making it sane for families.
Yeah.
This is really a very actually positive thing.
And we talked. So you talked about this leisure complex that's going to be happening. You've got Media City that's going to be a new jurisdiction, so that they're going to bring media companies and AI companies from all over the world, where they can enjoy, I think it's 20 years of corporate tax free. There's so many incentives for companies to come here right now and to potentially grow. And that's the thing, is to potentially grow. Come, and I stress this to so many companies when they go, embrace the culture, embrace it, build the trust, put some skin in the game, and the ability to grow here is quite phenomenal. You're a big example of that. So you started 28 years ago, and I'm now going on into your business. You started 28 years ago from those couple of pitches where really I take my hat off to you with your journey. And now you've just launched an IPO. What's next for you now with TechnoQ? What's your next ambitions?
Actually, we think, and I personally think, that the IPO is the start, because it puts you in the spot. You are exposed, and you must perform. Now you are under pressure to perform better than the previous year. You have to bring in everything you have and better. So it's for me, it's like a turbo engine, if you will. It's the motivation to excel more and to perform better and to grow and so on.
And I saw you putting in the press at the moment. You're advertising for staff.
Exactly, yes.
That's going to be a real growth period for you.
Inshallah, yes.
And and you're the operations guy of the whole thing. What's those things that you feel is absolutely key to your growth now going forward? What is it that you're going to be those areas that you're going to be looking into, those things that are really important to you in your growth? What are those things?
Our key staff, actually, the staff, because without competent staff, you cannot do anything, actually. So this is our key focus now.
And how, it's like you're give us some idea. You've got 300 staff at the moment. So you're looking to, in the next couple of years, how big do you think you're going to be?
I think if we talk about the Oman office and Saudi office, we are thinking maybe 100, 120 more.
Whoa.
In the next 2 years.
And I suppose you've got all those processes in place. What do you think about Saudi and what's happening there?
Saudi, actually, it's a huge market. It's they have huge projects. But the challenge in Saudi is that you have so many companies moving in. It's really, really tough market. It's not easy. It's very competitive, actually.
And there's a lot of taxes, right? And I think Saudi is a fantastic opportunity.
Taxes, whoever goes there, you and your competition have to pay taxes.
Of
so
course.
That's nothing. That will not impact a single company. It will impact everybody.
Yeah.
But there are so many projects to execute. It's overwhelming. But there is a lot of competition.
But that must be good for you because you've got the experience, right? There's nothing. I know that we spoke with Ziad, and there's nothing too small. There's nothing too big with you.
Yeah, what we see there actually, companies want to prove themselves, so they lower the prices, unfortunately. And I don't agree with this strategy, but many people do it. That's the challenge that we are facing today.
But it always comes back to the quality, right? It does always. It's got to always come back to quality.
Yeah, sure. But some projects, because of the speed and the deadline, they have to overlook. They have to overlook or give the blind eye to quality because they want to achieve a specific date.
Yeah.
That's a compromise because quality comes with time. There is quality. Actually, quality. People think that quality comes at a cost. No, it comes with a cost and time. You need time to do a quality product. You need to do it properly. You need to test it properly. Any company that produces issues a product without proper testing, they always have to have recalls. So quality is always tied with price and time.
We were laughing just a little bit about change in life, and I can remember when we didn't have emails, right? And I don't know if you're old enough, but I can remember when we didn't have emails, we had to send everything by mail or a fax. The pagers. I can remember when we didn't have the mobiles. So I'm now showing my age. How have you seen progression over the years? Which are the progressions in that period of time have you really looked up and said, it was one of those standout moments for you in the progress? And another question I'm going to put on that is it, what are you tackling now? This AI, how are you tackling AI in the same instance?
Actually, technology helped a lot. I mean, for me personally, in our business, really, WhatsApp. WhatsApp is great because you get instantly, you can communicate with all the staff, all the projects, you can see pictures, you can see videos, it's a time saver, really. It saves a lot of time, a lot of explanations. You can just, you send your pictures. For instance, you can send a design, I can mark it, send it back, it takes a few seconds.
Yeah.
So it's great. This, if you talk about technology, this is really a game changer.
A game changer. My business partner, he says exactly now, keep the email trails. This I don't like using it. So and we're probably, and I'll talk about this, but the AI also. But going back, who would have thought WhatsApp was ever going to take the crown of Skype? Because I thought Skype back then was the game changer. I thought that was going to be there forever.
But the Skype was only for meetings and voice and video. But WhatsApp is powerful because you can send images, you can send videos, you can mark them. It's really fun, and it's instantaneous. So it's
I love WhatsApp. I can't do without WhatsApp. I can't do without it. I just can't do without it. But in saying that, AI, how
actually, we introduced AI in Techno last year. We wanted to take advantage of the AI to help reduce time and increase efficiency. This was our objective. And AI is like having a website 30 years ago. Today, there is no way that you can have a company without a website. The same thing, AI. No way you can have a company without AI, maybe in less than a year or next year. It's a must. You cannot. But if you don't use it, you will be left out.
Did that scare you? But did that scare you?
No, because actually we used a product at that time. It wasn't called AI. I don't know what it was called, but
machine learning. I think they used to call it.
We had a software 15 years ago, even maybe more. You would select the equipment, and automatically it would it would make the design, the schematics, and so on. Today it's a little bit more smarter, but that was AI. It wasn't called AI actually. So today it's making our life much faster and more efficient.
If you put that into perspective and you look at your company, and if you got your staff to use it, AI with every single one, that's a growth that is incredible, the ability, right? That you could...
Definitely, but then it gives you more time to review because when you do things manually or using ordinary software, you need time to review it, and because of the load, you don't review it properly. I think review is the most important element in the quality cycle. Review. So AI will give you this time and leisure because it will spit out something. You need to properly review it, make sure it is proper. You have time, and then you can do a better job.
IPO. Okay, there's a lot of companies. There's not very many IPOs in Qatar, right? And you're one of the successful ones. What were the lessons that you learned for those people that could be thinking of getting that status as IPO?
Actually, if you want to be ready for IPO, you have to have a proper structure within your organization. And this specific part we did really early on. We had proper organization chart, we had procedures, we had departments, because small companies normally, even medium sized, they don't do this segregation. One role does many things, one person does lots of things. There are no clear boundary lines between this role and that role. They don't have a proper organization chart, they don't have procedures. So if I would advise everybody who's doing any business, no matter how small, make the structure properly, have your procedures done early on, and as you grow, you embrace these procedures and this structure and make it grow, systematically, not randomly. And this will make it really easier. I mean, in the IPO, that part was very easy. What took time was the financial reporting and the requirements, but from organizational point of view, from a company, it was really, we had almost everything that was required.
The implication side of trying to put all these things into place is mammoth task. It's better to start at the beginning.
Exactly, because when you start early on, it becomes part of the culture. It becomes embedded in the minds of the people, staff and colleagues. So it becomes part of them, part of the company itself. So the company is well structured, no matter how big it is or how small it is.
But it helps you scale, right? If you've got those
exactly,
things
yes,
into
because
place.
it lays a good foundation for growth.
And it adds value. Obviously, it adds value to your company also. When you've got these things in place, it's not just if somebody's coming to buy your company out or to do those type of things, then they want to know what they're buying. And those type of things that you implement really gives you real big value.
Yeah, because as I said, when we have staff joining from other companies, they are a little bit overwhelmed with the procedures, whatever. And vice versa, when some of our staff join other companies, and they are international companies or even big one, they are surprised how competent this person is and how knowledgeable he is from that perspective, organization, procedures, and so on. So it's
it can, and another thing, and I'm for everybody that's listening to this podcast is it can be a little overwhelming if you don't keep up with it. We're going through an anti-money laundering manager at the moment, and the deputy anti-money laundering, because we're going to become a service provider, and you've got to make sure all these policies and procedures are in place. And sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, but you start to see the benefits of it as you progress.
Definitely, but as I said, if it is done from early on, it is manageable, and then as you grow, it becomes part of your standards, part of your requirements. So for the team and the staff, it becomes part of the daily work, let's say, or the daily routine.
And I suppose with all your successes that you've had here, with all the projects you've worked on, you've implemented some fantastic things. How does that make you feel?
I believe that this is a must. I mean, you cannot do anything without proper procedures and proper guidelines. And I think it's the right of the staff to know or to have something written how things must be done in this company. So we look at it from this way, that we are helping staff and protecting them by giving them a written guideline, if you will, so that he can follow, and we are reducing the misunderstandings and the guessing.
Qatar's growing. We've already identified that. The ecosystem is growing. Everybody wants to open a business in some type of industry, in some type of sector. What's your advice for those people that's a startup right now that's starting their journey? What would be your advice to them?
My advice is to have, I mean, an idea that is slightly different, or if you are going to open a business that is unique, of course it will be easier. But if you have to start a business that exists, you must have something different. You cannot do a business that copies another business. It won't take off. The second advice is use the why rule. Every single thing you do, every single decision you want to take, you must ask yourself why. And you should have a good answer, and that will make your life much easier, and you can take better steps. Always ask yourself why I should call it this name, why I should make the logo this way, why I should make the quotation this way, why the price should be this much. Every single thing you have to use the why rule.
You have to be competitive something. You've got to think outside the box. You're going to have so many different elements of why you've got to be better, but it comes down at the end of the day is how better you are and how you're going to compete in this marketplace.
Definitely, you have to have value. I mean, let's take a very simple example, a coffee shop which is really growing like mushrooms over here. You must have something unique or a value so that you can succeed. Otherwise, you will be out of business.
So there's a lot of technical startups out there. What are the technology companies or those startups would you be looking for?
Actually, look, every technology, every sector is good because it is required. Even if you talk about electricity, if you want to be a company that provides electric services, everything is required. The challenge is how to provide a service or package it in a way to attract your targeted audience and make them loyal to you.
Yeah.
Everything is required,
You just said about loyalty, and again, I'm just trying to get those things out so that people can understand. It's that emotional relationship. It's going back to the original thing when it comes to you guys, the emotional relation. Going to see the Emir first, and then realizing he's not interested in, and then going to the Prime Minister until you get somebody that's willing to give you a chance. And you built that emotional relationship because it all started going from there. So emotional relationship, make sure that loyalty brand, it's absolutely crucial.
Yeah. This is really what make or break any person or any company, because even singers or actors, if they have a good emotional connection with their audience, they will be loved.
Most definitely.
And in one incident or one wrong move, you might lose all your fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one slip. And that's what we all rest on, right?
Exactly.
Is not making those mistakes.
It's the same for people who are famous. It is the same thing for companies. It's really the same. One thing, if I may add, is having a business partner is really a plus. So whoever thinks about starting a business, it's good to have a business partner. One partner should be specialized in one area and the other partner in another area, because really to do it alone, it's quite challenging and it's very difficult.
Lonely too.
Yeah,
right?
It's really I would imagine it will be hard. And if you think really, all the big companies like Apple, Microsoft, XYZ, all started with 2 people or 3 people, because one will be the commercial mind and one will be the technical mind, and they can help each other to grow. It makes it really, let's say, more feasible. And
it's nice we're talking about Zihad now, because he was very complimentary about you and how you looked after the operational side. The importance of having a partner, I know it can be easy sometimes, either understanding your position, understanding those positions, so it's not easy, but over a period of time, was it instantly, or how long was it before you realized that he had your best interest at heart?
I think it was instant because we were friends prior to the business venture, but really one key element in our growth was we shared the same office for 20 years. And that was because of space limitations, but this was, I think, the best thing that we did, sharing the same office, because in the same office we were working even on one desk, by the way. We had one desk to share. And this was really something, I believe, fantastic, because every decision, every thought, every move, we were discussing on the spot, his point of view, my point of view, and this was really very constructive.
Could you tell me who your inspirations were?
Mine really is Jack Welch. I read all his books, and surprisingly, I agree with every idea he has, or every strategy or philosophy. It's as if we talk the same language.
But and when you first read it, because I've done exactly the same. I didn't read the book, I got to say, and I get that feeling about cheating, but I had the audiobook. As soon as I started that audiobook, I couldn't stop listening because it was phenomenal. And I'm tingles are going on with me now, because Jack Welch is somebody important to me. But it's kind of, I don't always agree. Did you agree with everything he said?
Almost everything. I cannot think of anything that I disagreed with. It's as I told you, it was amazing, because it's like, we are having the same thoughts. We are graduated maybe from the same school of thoughts, but it's really amazing.
And with the size of your company, you could implement those things.
Definitely, yes.
And did you see
results?
results?
Regardless of the size, even if you are a 3-person company, you can still implement all these advices.
Nice. I always ask this all our guests. What advice would you give to a 15-year-old self, your 15-year-old self? What advice would you give yourself at 15 right now?
I would advise myself at 15 to read more, to explore more, because at that age we were more into playing and wasting time, really, I would call it. Reading is really something that unfortunately in Qatar young people don't read, and this is really a pity.
Your development going forward, not the company, your development. What do you want to still achieve in the future?
As I mentioned, I would like to help society, help individuals, help whatever I learned. I would like to give away, or have people. Maybe they will not do as I advise, but at least they have to listen to my experience and take the best out of it. This is something that I would like to, or I would love to do.
I see this as like being a parent, right? Your children are never going to listen to you. They're always going to do the opposite. And then they come back and say, yeah, I told you that was hot. And they say, yeah, I've just burnt my fingers. And that's how you start earning the respect with your kids, right? It's to say, oh, you told me that last time. But that's like what we've got to do now. And that's what I believe these podcasts are all about, is to give back to others, to try to help them not make the same mistakes that we did.
Sure.
Mr. Abdulla, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for having me.
I wish you all the best for the future. And I believe, when I sit with you, I believe that you're going to go and help so many people. You're already, and the way that you say about your staff and how they're important to you, that's really commendable. And I know that you're putting it into action, and people, that you should be the example for so many.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. What I want you guys to understand, look at where their journey's been. Okay, they've listed now on the Qatar Stock Exchange. Unbelievable what they've done. It's taken 28 years. The backbone of their business is their employees. You hear this time and time again with our guests. It's all about their staff, okay? They've started all of this with a dream. It's possible for you to have that dream and achieve what they've done. So please listen to our experts, listen to what's next for you, and keep on driving forward, because there are people out there doing exactly the same and they want to help you. Just make sure you keep on listening. And I do at this stage, I do want to thank Workington, because Workington, without you, we can't do what we do. And your support with your communities and with the way that you do your things and help us to be able to produce what we produce is testament to you. So thank you so much, Workington. Until next week, bye for now.